never applied for a job. I just did not know how to apply for things. On one hand, I was confident like that, like, okay, I made all the requirements for this visa. Then I apply and it's like, no. Sure itself is an endorsing body. It's a global talent visa. The UK is basically, they're trying to get the best and brightest in technology. Several sales. Whether you acknowledge it or not as selling. I didn't realize the burden of proof was on me. And I think the second application, I went in with I know I deserve it, but I still have to prove.
As the first employee at Paystack, Ope Aikomo was a key architect behind one of Africa's most significant fintech exits. He had the track record, the talent, and the proof, but he still faced a no that forced him to rethink how he presented his worth. Today, Ope shares the reality of that setback and the lessons that followed.
What is the failure you're sharing with us today?
This was interesting because I think it made me realize it made me reflect on, I guess, my relationship with failure, just thinking about the question. Because I think it's something I also don't engage with enough. Like, even just my frame of mind generally, like failure, I put that in quotes, is part of the process. Like, and so
Absolutely.
Very often I don't even, like, when you ask me, like, and I'm thinking back, like, have I failed at recently? Yeah, it's just like, wait, have I not failed at anything? Like, but then I realized it's just because of kind of like my relationship with like failing in work. It's very like normal for me and very acceptable. It's like, and so the very like big experience that comes to mind is applying for technician, because that was outside of my kind of comfort zone. Like, I've never applied for a job. I just did not know how to apply for things. And so on one hand, I was confident like that, like, okay, I made all the requirements for this visa. I've seen so many people before me like get the visa who like I trained.
Yeah.
It's just like very obvious that I'm going to get it. Then I apply and it's like, no. Yeah. So it took 2 applications, 2 appeals to kind of like get it. And between the applications, like a year. Because like the first time I didn't get it, I was just very upset.
I was in shock.
Like, I was just like, yeah,
what?
I'm going to give this space. But yeah, it took kind of like time for me to then like walk through, so like what did I not do right first time? Like, put yourself in their shoes. Like, they're obviously not stupid. It's like a whole country set up this whole thing. So they're obviously not stupid. It's just like, there's a disconnect between what you're saying and what they're hearing, essentially. And so it's like, it's a design problem. So how do you bridge the gap between what you're trying to say? How do you improve what you're trying to say to kind of like talk some of the things they're trying to hear? And it went from, in the beginning, first application, I'm not very like public. I don't have like a lot of public appearances. I don't do a lot of talks and stuff. So I was convinced in my head that was like it going against me. And that was like, all right, the reason why I'm failing is because this guy's over-optimized for like, public visibility. But that's just a story I told myself, because if you don't know anyone in the country where you're getting applications from, it does make sense that like, it's not the thing you want to fully optimize for, but it goes a long way. Yeah. Like, public proof goes a long way. And the burden was on me to know that, considering that I don't have a lot of public proof, how else can I demonstrate this? Versus say like, oh, they're wrong because like they optimized for the wrong thing. That's kind of like the process of.
Give us context as to what technician is. Some people might not know what it is.
Yeah. So technician itself is an endorsing body. It's a global talent visa. So the UK is basically, trying to get the best and brightest.
Yeah.
From across the world. And it worked. Like, it got me here. So they're trying to get the best and brightest in technology.
What emotions did you experience? Like, there's some obvious ones. Like, can you just through that process?
Anger, I'll say first. Like, and like, I feel like sometimes when there's anger, there's pride. There's just there's an ego. It's be yourself, just like disappointed that the world doesn't see you how you see yourself. So I think pride. ego, anger. I think confusion as well. Just like, okay, what did I do wrong? Because, I say all of this, but like when I put in the application the first time, I didn't think I wasn't going to get in. Like now I have all these like stories and I can reverse, can work your way back from where you've gotten to now. But like when I sent the very first application, I sent it expecting to kind of get in. So there's a bit of confusion there as well. Just like, I would say, usually for me, there's some curiosity as well. It's like I want to know, like and I think that's one of the things with like government applications and visa applications and things like that. It's that sometimes you just don't know and they don't tell you why.
Yeah.
It happens with a lot of job applications, but as I said, I haven't really applied for jobs in a while, and you just don't know why. And so there's all of this. It's not even self-doubt so much so. It's an inability to move on from the point you've gotten to. It's like I've gotten to this point now. You've told me I'm not good enough, but I've tried my best and I don't know
why.
And like you didn't tell me, and so like I don't know like kind of what else to do.
So how did you handle those emotions then?
Time I think for me was very like took like deciding okay, yeah, like I don't care. I'm going to do something else. It's your loss, and it's interesting because I try to talk about pride in like a negative, but it can also be very useful, like pride and ego. I think it's just like the context in which I you're applying it. It's like, are you using it to defend yourself, or like are you kind of using it rightly to propel yourself? If you're defending yourself, it's not. You probably don't want to be, like and so. Some of the pride went into more of like a propelling, okay, no, you're better than this. There's just something of like, there's no doubt in your ability or the fact that you deserve this thing. And so when you have enough pride to like to remove that doubt, which is almost like a crippling feeling, it's like the doubt keeps you stuck from moving through. It's like, the pride gets you also like, okay, no, I know it's not about what, like, it's just something wrong. And so like, what do I do now?
Yeah,
like,
you come across as quietly confident. You're
you're
not the type, you're not loud. You're just not out there like that.
But I'm just like, I'm just very sure.
Yeah, but you have to be sure of yourself to do the stuff you've done at the same time, right? So hence quietly confident.
Yeah, I think humility is important as well. I don't know if that's a feeling, but it's like a state of mind. And within the context, I think of kind of your podcast, so which is growth through failure. Because everything about this story was about growth. Like honestly, like just looking back at it, it was just so many things that now clear to me. It's like I'm looking at my first application and the next one, and I'm just like, guy, you had no idea how to talk about yourself. Like this was so bad. Like this was obviously so bad, and you wrote it as if you're writing it to, all the people in Lagos who know that you're a fintech bro.
Right? Yeah.
Like, and so like, of course nobody cares. Yeah. You're like, yeah, Stripe woo. What's woo is Stripe? Like, I'm confused. You think everybody in the world just randomly knows because, they bought your company.
God.
So it was that. Like, that was very important for me to learn because I had the same job for many years. Yeah. I had no reason to kind of evolve except for this experience that forced me to then be like, okay, you have to learn to talk about yourself. You have to learn to like tell your story. Like, yes, you're kind of uncomfortable. I'm very practical about credit and very clear about like my contributions to something, and like, feeling like I don't want to take too much credit or feel like, I say too much than like what, but it's just understanding kind of the nature of, I guess, stories. Like, well, adults, nobody expected you to do it yourself. Like, relax. Like,
I mean, everyone I spoke to that did it, they got like a consultant or other people to look it through. Yeah,
they work with people. Like, relax.
Through, right?
Like, you saying like you did it doesn't mean everybody thinks you are the, like, it just means that you kind of are very confident in your contribution into it. And then if somebody asks, oh, so what exactly did you do? Then you go into it and say, okay, I did this and I did this. But like, you know, so kind of failing there taught me to kind of talk about myself more, present myself better.
So what were this leads on to it. What were the specific strategies or resources or mindset shifts you used to overcome this?
I think one, like just generally, any experience of failure will very much depend on the environment. And I use that loosely, just where the person is, what's happening. It's like if you've been applying for things for 2 years and you know you apply to one thing and you don't get it again, how you approach it is very different from somebody who has been on a winning streak for like, you know, the last and like, this is just one thing that like, you know. So I feel like number one is just very kind of like very honest acknowledgement of kind of where you're at, a very clear sense of what you want, a very clear separation of ego from the thing. It's like, this is me, this is the thing I want. My ability/inability to get that thing it's just, me is still very separate from the thing. So I think that ability to carry yourself as an individual, which is can be very like tampered by, you know, a lot of failure. I think if you run into a lot of problems, it just tends to chip at you.
But what specifically did you use, like a consultant? I know a few people did. For you to, like,
what specifically did I do differently?
Yeah.
I consulted more people.
Good.
I used the consultant the first time, so I did both applications myself.
Oh, okay.
Because I wanted to like. I'm just like, no, you have to tell me what I did wrong. Like, I'm just not going to there like, okay, so you just come and they'll write stuff and then you do just get it and I'll pay and then it's like, I'm like, no, I'm going to write the applications, the appeals. Yeah, so
I
the
just
second
remember
time,
people were saying that you were stubborn, that you just wanted to...
I'm very stubborn. So it wasn't really, I think the second application was better because one, I had the first one. Okay. So I had more information to work with. I had, from the first appeal, I knew they were like, oh yeah, this sounds good, but you didn't do a good enough job of telling us why it matters, what you did within the company. So there was good feedback from the first one that I could take into the second one.
Okay.
It took me a while to translate the feedback. At first, I was angry at the feedback. I thought they were just saying nonsense, but like later, I got it. The second time, another thing I did differently was I consulted just more people. And not necessarily people who had applied before, but people who I felt knew my story and could tell me whether I was telling the story well enough or not, or could tell me, I dare you to, like, you can boast a little more. And I needed them to feel comfortable in writing, I founded the biggest company in this. So I got more people who I felt like I could validate what I was writing with. And that gave me confidence to really, truly just write in the biggest and just big myself up. So that's something else I did. Practically, those are the things I did differently.
Okay. I guess you touched on it because my next question is, did you receive any support or guidance? And you have, right? You did. You spoke to some folks.
Second time.
And how would you say that support contributed to your growth? Because you said that was, growth, right?
It was very kind of crucial to the growth.
Like, what kind of growth did you get out of this?
Again, I think it was about bringing myself to the chopping block and just a different... My biggest problem was just a lack of experience in what I was doing. The first application was about myself and me trying to get... The second one was like a technician project. And now I have a team of my friends who are helping me finish the project. So I think the thing I said about separating your ego from the thing, I think bringing more people to look at it allowed me to be more objective about it. So allowed me to listen to, no, I don't think this thing, guy, no, change this. Like, there's no number figure here. I can't find a number and put it there. Like, those are kind of the things that happened the second time that didn't happen the first time. So they brought... So
you're like, are you the type, because someone we both know, Ire, she complains to me saying that I tend to over collaborate, right? I'll tend to be like, I want to get like a bunch of people in to get stuff done. I want to like get that in. Whereas would you say that you kind of are more of a individual? You work.
It's a mix. I'm very decisive, except unless I'm not. So when I'm not, I'm very aware of it. Then I figure out who knows and how do I curate the information. But the minute I know what's happening and I confirm with everybody,
get over
and they say yes, I'm just like, done. I don't wait for. But I would rather like do the thing and like apologize after and say, okay, sorry, I'll change it. But like I'll finish it first and I'll always come to you with the finish, with what I think should be done, and have you then correct me or direct me or whatever.
I mean, that works in a startup environment.
Yeah, I won't wait for you.
You have to be like that in I'm not gonna, small growing business.
It's a waste of time. Yeah. A lot of times. I think, some things are really risky and it's worth, which is where counsel comes in, and just like making sure before I do, am I sure? Have I consulted enough people to be sure? But once I'm sure, I will do, and then wait the next milestone to correct myself. But like, I just like, So it's a mix of both. Like,
And to tie this up, what are 3 valuable lessons you learned that you can provide to our audience as takeaways?
From my failure experience? It's very personal. Number 1 is everyone sells.
Everyone sells?
Yes, everyone sells.
You're your own brand.
Yeah. Like how you do it, your consciousness is different. So whether you acknowledge it or not as selling. So before, I've been always very like curated with my personal brand, but if you call it a brand, I can't even get upset with you. Like, I can be mad at you that, what do you mean? Like, I'm just writing. I'm just being me. I'm just right. So I think that's a brand is not what you do. It's not a thing you make. It's a thing that happens as a result of an interaction between a kind of entity and the audience. So the brand is not, a brand is made. Like, you've done you, the audience have received, and that interaction with it, what they see or what they experience you as, what you're doing as, is what the brand is. And so whether or not you accept it, it's there. It's just a matter of like, are you consciously kind of driving it or not? Like, and when I even say consciously driving it, I say that intentionally to mean you can't almost shape it. You can only influence, you can drive it. You can suggest that I am this person, but it's up to still the people to take whether or not like kind of this you see like that. So one of the big kind of lessons for me was like, just be intentional about how you sell. Let your response to, I don't like how people sell, or I don't want to be a sellout, or I don't, let your response to that be, how do I want to sell? Not, I am not going to sell.
Yeah.
So I think that's one. I'll say the second thing, nobody knows you, or like, as if you don't deserve anything. That was, I think, a mistake I went into the application with. I went there just so sure that I deserved it, that I didn't realize the burden of proof was on me. And I think the second application, I went in with I know I deserve it, but I still have to prove that I deserve it because this person doesn't know anything about me. And that fundamental mind shift in thinking,
awesome.
Every single thing you write, this person does not know about you. This person doesn't know anything about you. When you write, I founded this Paystack, and it's like, wait, they don't know what that is. Okay. Paystack is a this. And so that's consciousness of just operating as though like, that really helped me kind of improve my application. Yeah. A third thing I learned from the experience, I'm not sure it's a thing I learned, but I'm really happy with how like I went about it. Like I'm happy I got angry. I'm happy I took 1 year to apply again. I'm happy I was stubborn and decided to do it myself because I enjoy the story now. if like I don't know if I
So
have
the
enjoyed the
lesson there
story
is
so
like
more.
the sense of perspective you have from it.
Yeah,
afterwards.
like if I have enjoyed it so more, if my solution to it was like, I didn't get so I just like hired a company and they just solved it for me. Yeah, that would have gotten me here too, right? But I just enjoy the story I'm telling more. So I think like for me, it's the kind of consciousness that sometimes the process, the reward is not just the outcome. There's also the story, I think, that gets told at the end. And so you can take different approaches.
Yeah.
I should just be conscious that like, each approach can tells a different story, and it's not good or bad, it's not binary, it's just like an intentional, conscious, like what story do I want at the end of this experience. And so maybe it's the seventh time you failed at the thing, but like you go one more time because it would be nice to say I did this thing 8 times.
Yeah.
And I got it. And maybe that's just the 4 that kind of just keeps you going. But I think just being conscious of like, okay, I'm doing this again, and this like when I was doing the second appeal, I was almost spiritually sure I was going to get it. And maybe that was also my confidence, and maybe like if I didn't get it again, I would have spun up another story and like gone at it again. But that second time when I was appealing, I was so sure, and not just in kind of my application, but also I'd learned enough about the process by this time, and what they wanted, that I knew that by their own process they had made a mistake. So my confidence was not even in like, oh, I'm sure
it was founded in
like,
something
based on your rules. You have, I don't know if I can swear on this call, but you fucked up. I literally am looking at your bylaws, I'm looking at my application, and the person that reviewed this thing did not read this fucking thing. And so I know for a fact. So I was almost like writing it like a court. Like it was very academic, very nonplussed, not angry, just being like, just letting you know in line 5 of this, you said this, and I wrote this, but that was discounted. 1. 2, in line 7 of this, you said this, but so it was very, very like, academic. And so I liked that, going through the process kind of myself was very engaging. I learned a lot from it, and that was just like, so maybe it's not something I learned, but I really enjoyed.
That's what's up.
The experience of doing it myself.
Thanks, Ope.
Yeah.
So we're going to get to our rapid fire questions. They're not necessarily rapid all the time, but we'll see. It's 9 questions.
Okay.
Not all of them will be long or whatever in terms of your answers. Depends on you and the way I ask them. First one is, what's a book you'd recommend to people?
The one I'm reading now.
Is the one you're reading now is what you recommend?
Because I don't want to think. They're kind of like a lot of books. But the one I'm reading now is Jordan Mechner. It's the guy who designed Prince of Persia, the game.
Oh, wow.
And
why would you recommend it to folk?
One, it's a graphic novel. I don't know if there's a book version. I like graphic novels. I think they're just very kind of interesting mediums. They mix like comics and books. And I think anything graphic appeals to me just because I like I like graphic design, but also it's an opportunity to tell very like heavy stories. So this one is about like his family moving, him, doing something else after, because that's something about having this big success like Prince of Persia. What do you do after that?
Yeah.
They just want to do more sequels and more sequels and more sequels of it. And then it's like, okay, so just part of it is him doing kind of like another game, life, relationship, kids, moving places, and it's very kind of like interesting.
Interesting.
I like more like memos like this.
Has he been able to find more success post Prince of Persia? And is it how
I bought
he's
this
like?
book. I'm sure this is the best selling book. I think so. Like that's another thing.
What's a quote you live by, if any at all, or a quote that resonates with you?
There's I have a tattoo at the back of my arm. Ichigo Ichi, one life, one encounter. It's I'm not going to say where it's from because I might be wrong. But the idea is one of my friends like doing shodo calligraphy, and then it's one of the like. But the idea is like every experience you have happens once, even if it's the same people, even the same place. This interaction is only going to happen this one time. And if you approach life with that consciousness that like every moment, every interaction only really happens once.
Oh.
And then like it kind of changes how you approach things. Like, yeah.
Who inspires you regularly?
Definitely my girlfriend right now, I think. And it's because we do a lot of, and she does a lot of things that are outside of my scope of work. So my experience for the last kind of 10 years has been very digital.
Yeah.
Wake me up from sleep, I can make a website, an app, like, can put together a team to make like a game, an animated film. I can do those things. But she's interested in like physical things, like, consumer business. Like, let's make compression socks and sell. Yeah, and then now I have to find suppliers. Now I have to think of inventory. Now I have to like use Shopify. I've spent the last 10 years building Shopify like tools. And now I'm using Shopify and just being like, damn, these guys are so much better. Oh my God. Like, so yeah, I think it's very inspiring because like, she's kind of building a body care brand as well. And like just being in the middle of all of that, like exploration and like, she got some interns from, she got an intern from FIT, which is Fashion Institute of Technology in New York, and just like seeing the process of that, like just emailing the school randomly and then like going to New York to meet with them. And then,
wow.
Like, it's like, it's very interesting and very like outside of my, so it kind of inspires me because then like, also just like it reminds me that I can do so much more, like, and it encourages me to just try.
That's awesome.
Try more stuff, yeah.
What's one skill you think everyone should have?
Communication.
Why?
Such an important skill. I think most things fail because of poor communication.
Okay.
And I think like the definition of communication is kind of tough because people just like reduce it to writing and your ability to write or your ability to. But very often it's just your ability to listen, to understand first the person, the audience, to listen, to understand their intent, to match that with your intent, and then to pass information in a way that acknowledges that you understand what they're saying, but this is what you want, and then to drive them to alignment. And that can be very different things. But people generally don't understand that. And they, at whatever level, it's like you're on a team and, you're an engineer, and you don't understand that it's important for you to have presence in the core and ask people what they're doing and, ask what kind of your work is going to achieve because you're communicating beyond the work that you are someone who wants to partner with them. There's a lot of context hidden in the how you are giving the information. So that is just beyond the answer. So you have people who truly want to be part of the team, but because they don't have the skill of communicating, they just kind of end up communicating as though they don't care. And then everybody kind of but they really want to be, just don't know how to. So I think communication is even like two people are working together, somebody has feedback for somebody else, but they just don't know how to give it. Like either they feel like maybe it's too insulting because like, or maybe like they feel like the person will be defensive and they just don't have the energy to deal with it. It's a communication thing because they have this feedback that's useful for this person, but they just can't figure out a way to give it to them. Yeah. Because like I don't have the energy, please.
If you weren't in your current profession, what would you be doing? I think you kind of
a lot. Yeah. I make films, I could write, I could teach, I could do a lot of things.
You're doing a lot, man. Yeah. A lot of different things. What's something you've learned about yourself in the past year?
I think I've always kind of known that I'm an anxious person, but I don't think I really understood how much it, I guess, influences or controls my mood, my behavior. And so I'll say something I've really kind of improved at and learned a lot about myself in the past year is just my anxiety. And essentially just like strategies for managing it.
What's a habit you're trying to build?
Yeah, going to the gym.
And one other one that you're trying to break?
Habit I'm trying to break. I guess it's just an unhealthy lifestyle in general. I really hated the gym. I hated it. You can see my face. I hated it so much. I'm just like, God, please, my body's fine. I'm not trying to be buff.
Yeah.
Please, everybody leave me alone.
If you could have dinner with, so these are the last two questions. If you could have dinner with a historical figure, dead or alive, who would that be and
Who would
why?
be a historical figure? What am I most interested in?
If anyone at all.
Probably Ojukwu. I would be interested.
Interesting.
Yeah, because I think he wrote. I've read. So most recently, I read the Emmanuel Dumas like Biafra memoir. It was essentially trying to find his uncle, who, do you know Kainene?
No.
Okay, so Chimamanda, in one of her books, there's this character Kainene who like gets missing, I think after the war. So it's kind of like a metaphor for a lot of people who's like family members who's like never came back. And so Iduma is essentially like looking for and using this process of finding this lost family member, his father's brother, as a way of kind of like interrogating the war and figuring out what happened, where was his family, was all of that stuff. So that's, I think, to most recently my kind of like extent of. But something I learned from the book was like, you know, the kind of OJ in charge, it didn't, I think it's a book, but like it didn't talk as much, I guess, about, and there's kind of like a lot of history missing there. So I think I would be interested in just a conversation to like.
What would you be asking him?
I don't know what I would ask. I think it's the kind of thing where I would just sit and see what he says. Like, I'm here now. I'm dating an Igbo girl. I'm like, we're all this multicultural. I've traveled. People, you know, like, things are very different. It's like, what will you say to me? Like, what's lost from the idea? What's the idea where it's like, because this is very sensitive, but we don't kind of talk about it.
It is,
so,
and
yeah,
I think
so.
a lot of these conversations are had in our ethnic silos. So, like,
Yeah, exactly.
Hausa kids will get certain things from their Hausa parents, and they have a particular perspective.
I mean,
The Yoruba
yeah.
kids will get the things from their parents,
And they
they
go with it, yeah.
and then nobody actually, when everyone's talking, nobody talks about it,
Yeah.
the actual thing, and it's just like, well, that's not healthy. What does success mean to you?
I think I'm in the process of rediscovering that. I think a lot of people consider me successful. I consider myself haven't been successful. Like, it's just like I've had successes. I don't see myself as a successful person. I've just had successes. I've done
I've
some.
seen you prior to this massive success,
Fair
and
enough.
I've seen you post this massive success,
Okay,
and I
so-
feel like you're still the same person, which is really cool to have. I don't think you've
But yeah,
changed.
that's just it. It's just so I think what for me now is defining more what like long term. I've never like had a sense of what long term kind of success. But I have some ideas. So I think one is time. The ability to control my time.
Yes.
Fundamentally, that's what success comes down to. I know I'll still be working because I like to work. Creating is kind of part of my nature and it's how I express myself. So I will always be doing something. But the ability to decide this is what I want to do, right? Like be able to stop when I want to, like that's something I'd say I define as success. I think I have a lot of ideas. I think I can go on, but I can stop there as well because that's like a good summary answer. That's like a, yeah, like just give it smart, yeah, let's just wrap it up answer. But I feel like there are literally, for example, community as well.
Okay.
Like, for me, a lot of the things I do are almost like institutions. Like I have an initial idea, and then I get so frustrated with the process of making the idea that I start building an apparatus to make sure that process is never too difficult for me. And then when I get there, it's like, okay, it can't be just me. So now I have to make this apparatus into a system that can like, support multiple people. What I'm trying to kind of like achieve now is a network of creative companies. Is this what I kind of, I don't need to say this part. It's a network of creative companies. And like each one of them is like a design studio. There's kind of like an art studio. There's now like an e-commerce fashion brand. that Princess and I are starting. So it's these 3 companies, right? And the goal is, I want them to exist, right? I don't want them to be venture scale. I think it's also unfortunate too, because I've worked in tech. Tech is just everything tech is just so exaggerated. It's like, I know it's in like billions and in conquering the world and in this and in that. And I do think, just given paucity of infrastructure in Nigeria, there's a lot of need for like nation scale things from the private like industry. We just need a lot of infrastructure. Absolutely. And so people should be more ambitious. This is not I don't have beef with ambition. I think it's important. But I think that there need to be small companies that just like make money and grow naturally. And that's just it. They have a team of 5 and it just works very well. And it's almost like a family thing, and there's succession planning. And, you know, all the 5 people there can die, but that company will still go. And they will just sell, I don't know,
socks,
some type of pen or some socks. And that's just all they do. And that's just it. And I think that idea is, you know, from living in Nigeria and then having this like kind of head in the world and fit in Nigeria, it's kind of, and which is part of why we need to sell to the world, because like those kind of things are not, the needs in Nigeria, I think, are just more basic. And not that there are not people who want more sophisticated need, but they're not enough to form like a large, big enough market. But maybe small markets.
There's not the purchasing power, basically. It's not enough.
So it's like, if this design studio should be able to get clients, if I get people good enough, if I direct them well enough, make money and pay for the staff, I have some extra cash. With the extra cash, you can afford time to hire a few more people to then work on any other thing that is web or graphic design related that comes from the group. The art studio have an online shop. So with the nonprofit that's working with artists and making stuff, if they're marketable stuff, then you sell it on the online shop too. Like, well, if it's not a marketable thing, you do it as like a community good.
Okay.
And the shop, when it makes money, some of the proceeds go back into like investing in artists.
Okay.
So there's that as well. And when either one of them, whether independent arts or the online store, needs to kind of like do design or web design, hopefully the design studio has enough time and capacity to help them, and so they don't have to be paying for it. Keeps costs simple. And then there's the brand as well. Similarly, like there's a lot of marketing chops there, customer success. As you build those functions, right, you want to use it across the entire. We don't want to set up marketing here.
Yeah.
Customer success here.
Yeah.
So the idea is to then just make this network of each company. This one sells graphic design and like web designs. They sell software, digital experiences. They're self-sustaining. This one sells art goods, books, collectibles, self-sustaining. This one sells consumer products, self-sustaining. And then there's a system that has like key functions and serves all of them until they make enough money to, if they're big enough, then go and hire your own team.
Yeah, they can spin off.
Make enough money, then buy. And hopefully this system gets good enough that it can then spin off more.
Wow.
But not necessarily for me. And that's why I call it a system. I don't like, this will take me years to build, but I don't think I'm not approaching it as like, you know, this, I think it's very important critical infrastructure, but I'm doing it less for me and more. I'm doing it for me, but in a second-hand way. It's like, I wish this would exist for me.
Yeah.
So if me as a person wanted to do something, I can come to this entity and they'll work with me, because that's the idea for Moonlight in the end. It's that when like a big artist like Don Jazzy, for example, decides that I want to have a brand of pajamas, and I have the money, I have the audience, I have the clout, I have the everything. I just need business development, marketing. I need a lot of these things. Like, you come, we essentially incubate the thing just because we've done it so many times. We have all of the people, and then it makes enough money, good luck. You can take your thing. Maybe we keep a percentage of it, maybe not. So it's
like a knowledge factory
studio,
and like a studio. Yeah, exactly.
Like, yeah, but for me, the goal is to solve my own problem of like, I have all of these different ideas and I have to essentially build a company each time to make the idea come to life. can I just stop building company? Can I just build one company so I can stop building companies
One
for my
vertical,
creative
yeah.
production? And then maybe if I didn't have this big tech idea that I want to build, I can go and do it knowing that while I'm doing this big tech idea, if I decide I want to make a film, there's a company that can help me produce.
Yes.
That's the idea.
Wow. And on that note, Ope, thank you, bro.
This is nice.
Thank you for listening to Growth Through Failure, where we overcome failure one story at a time. Enjoy the episode, then like, subscribe, and share with your circle. Remember, failure is a stepping stone to success. So stay resilient, stay curious, and embrace the power of failure.